Let's discuss the extraordinary vessels, Wei Qi life cycles. Overflow qi that runs into the extraordinary vessels irrigates the space between the skin and muscle, as the space between skin and muscles is the space where the defensive qi circulates, protecting the body from invasion of external pathogenic factors. The extraordinary vessels play a role in the circulation of defensive qi. The extraordinary vessels circulate defensive qi over the thorax, abdomen, and back. This is a function which is performed especially by the penetrating, directing, and governing vessels. In fact, the governing vessel obviously influences defensive qi as it governs all yang energies and moreover controls all the yang channel in the back, which have a protective function. The penetrating vessel, being the C of the 12 channels, control all channels and in particular, all connecting channels which flow in the superficial layers of the body with the defensive qi. The extraordinary vessel's role in the circulation of defensive qi is another way in which these vessels integrate various types of qi which would otherwise not be integrated. The extraordinary vessels originate from the space between the kidneys and relate to the essence. And as we have seen, they irrigate the space between the skin and muscles where defensive qi circulates. Therefore, we can see that through the extraordinary vessels, the kidney essence play a role in the defense from exterior pathogenic factor in the space between the skin and muscles. Defensive qi is a yang type of qi, and as such, it is dependent on kidney yang. Although it is mainly the lung that diffuse defensive qi, this type of qi actually originates from the kidneys. Defensive qi originates from the essence and original qi and is transformed from kidney yang. Defensive qi has its root in the lower burner, the kidneys, and is nourished by the middle burner, the stomach and spleen, and it spreads outward in the upper burner, the lungs. Chapter 18 of the spiritual axis says nutritive qi comes out from the middle burner and the defensive qi comes out from the lower burner. Since the extraordinary vessel circulates defensive qi, which protects the body from the exterior pathogenic factors, they also play a role in the body's resistance to pathogenic factors. As all extraordinary vessels derive from the kidneys, this also explains the important role played by the kidneys in the resistance to pathogenic factors and the connection between the kidneys, the kidney essence, and defensive qi. The extraordinary vessels and defensive qi. So qi overflow into extraordinary vessels irrigating the space between the skin and muscles where defensive qi circulates. Extraordinary vessels circulate defensive qi in abdomen, chest, and back, and the extraordinary vessels play a role in protection from exterior pathogenic factors. Next, the extraordinary vessels and life cycles govern 7 and 8-year life cycles in women and men, respectively. Life cycles dependent on the extraordinary vessels storing of essence. Tiange Wei is a transformation of kidney essence through the agency of the extraordinary vessels. It is menstrual blood in women and sperm in men. The extraordinary vessels and the life cycles. The governing, directing, and penetrating vessels regulate the 7 and 8-year cycle of, respectively, women and men's lives. These life cycles are described in the simple question in chapter 1. This basically describes the ebb and flow of essence as the basis for sexual maturation and decline, and obviously corresponds to the hormonal life changes in Western medicine. For example, the simple question says that at 14 in a girl, the Tianwei arrives, the directing vessel circulates well, the penetrating vessel is flourishing, she begins her periods, and she can therefore bear child. At the age of 49, the directing vessel begins to become empty, the penetrating begins to decline, menstruation stops, and she cannot bear child any longer. Similarly, for men, Qiangwei refers to the precious essence that forms menstrual blood in women and sperm in men. This precious essence is a direct transformation of the kidney essence. Thus, the extraordinary vessel, and in particular the governing, directing, and penetrating vessel, are the vehicles through which the kidney essence is transformed into Qiangwei, which is responsible for sexual maturation and decline.